You help so many people with getting their homes organized, packing up to move, handling estates. I don't know how Yakima survived prior to your company, More Space, More Time. I swear to God, you and I just am so grateful that you're always a phone call away and you can guide my people through huge transitions.
Yeah.
So how did you get this idea, Yakima needs this? How did that come about?
That's a funny story because I used to work for you, Marie.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
And we would go in to take pictures in listings, and it was just full of clutter. And I've always wanted to be a professional organizer. And so at one point, I just said, this is what I want to do. And we started the new business. And so it's so much fun to go in and help people and do those life transitions or having them get ready to sell their house to another different transition. So yeah, it really came out of working with you and being in real estate houses that needed decluttering before we got them on the.
I had talked about you in a couple other long-form videos because it was so much fun to watch you step into these people's lives and simplify the process for them that I wanted to spend a little bit of time on what that looks like.
Okay.
I'm thinking in particular, I think it's interesting, a lot of the people we've helped have been men that are widows.
Yes.
And how interesting, right? And it seems like it's even harder for them to let go of the stuff. But let's go to Wickersham,
Okay.
which was a house filled with treasures.
Yeah.
We have two siblings there. We had to go through the process of what was going to be a estate sale
Right.
and what the family was going to take. And
Right.
then I have an executor that is really not family. So there was a lot of dynamics there.
Yeah.
When you come into a house, literally 6 sets of dishes, I think. I don't even know how many wine glasses. How do you begin the process of stepping into a house that is filled with stuff?
Things. Well, we have to look at what's the outcome. So do they want to do an estate sale? Do they need the money from an estate sale? Because you and I have also done ones where the family's like, it's okay, the estate has enough money, we just want to donate it. So if they want to do an estate sale, then we will go through the process of, we know because of our experience what will sell in Yakima, what won't sell. And then we have great partnerships with a couple of estate sale groups. So we go through and we will get rid of the things that we don't think will sell. Then we have them come in and do the actual estate sale. When that's done, then we help empty the house and get it ready for you. Now, if it is just a full donate, then we work with a ton of not-for-profit people in Yakima. We really try to keep most of the donations local. People don't think of First Tee for golf things, like just that, or some of the pet rescue places.
Even the ski gear that you donated. It was, I never would have thought of, leaning into those clubs that need equipment. I thought it was fantastic.
Exactly. So we try and utilize as much not-for-profit. So if that's the case, then we just call these people and we have great relationships with them. So oftentimes they will come and pick up. We have a great relationship with Habitat for Humanity. So a lot of goes to them, building supplies and anything home related can go to their store. So
it's so nice to have somebody who can come in and sort through, hey, this doesn't all have to go to the dump. And it certainly doesn't all have to go to Goodwill. It's not their job to sort through a bunch of garbage. So
absolutely.
I love that you're able to help.
Well, and when we do work with people, that it is more meaningful for them to see their things go to places where they can help. And I think having those resources actually helps them through that emotional attachment. Because if they think, oh, it's my golf clubs are going to go to a young kid that's learning, not a problem. I can get rid of them. But if that didn't happen, then it's more emotional and they have a harder time getting rid of the items. Yeah.
It's interesting, I think because I'm of a certain age, that a lot of my clients are either one, downsizing from 6,000 square feet to 2,000 or less, right? Or it's an estate. So when you talk about somebody going from a great big house and they are overwhelmed, they've raised their children here, it is filled with kindergarten drawings, and their kids are 40 and 50 years old. how do you guide somebody through that?
Well, I actually do a real sort of primitive checklist. We put every single room on the checklist, and then we move from least used space to most used space. So if there's a storeroom down in the basement, we would start there.
Okay.
A lot of the time, it's the easy stuff. And then we move to a place like the kitchen. So that allows them not only to move through the decluttering process, but they can stay in their house while we're doing it. And then once we get one check, a room, we just check it off. So it also shows them momentum and we're actually moving forward and stuff.
I was thinking about that. It's like once they get going, they got to get more confidence in like, I don't need, right?
They do.
Yeah.
They do. And I ask them very gently some very non-biased questions like, are you going to need 6 hoses when you're moving to the terraces? Probably not.
Right.
And they don't think about those things because they are overwhelmed with all of their stuff. But we can also offer them solutions. One of our mutual clients, he had boxes of pictures and tons of things on the wall. So we take them all down, we scan them, we show them the photo frames, and that's all uploaded into their photo frames so that they have all those memories in there.
That is such a gift. I'll tell you, and I was sharing with Ben, the cameraman, my dad took pictures of everything, and I thousands of pictures. And then on top of it, all these old pictures, especially from my mom's stuff from Sweden. Like, I don't know who these people are, but they're cool old photos. So it's kind of like I feel this nostalgia. Maybe I should keep it. I don't know who they are. Like, how do you... It is such an emotional process to let go of this old stuff. My kids don't want it. Like, how do you encourage me to get rid of all this stuff?
Well, one, like I said, if it's going to a not-for-profit or a different place, people oftentimes will be easier to get rid of. If we can if they can keep it, but in a different form. So can I take a picture of your dining room so that you can have it in a really cool book to show the people in your assisted living, this is the house I moved from. So we can make them little archival books. Scanning even 3-dimensional things to put it on photo frames.
Wow.
So we're able to keep all those things, but just in a different form. And also, I talk to them a lot about not what you're losing, but what you're gaining. So you're not losing all of this stuff. You're gaining the ability to be more mobile, like to travel or do other things. You're gaining a new living space with new people that you're going to meet. And it kind of, you sort of try to shift their mindset to a positive rather than I'm losing all these memories. I'm losing my stuff. I'm gaining all of this really cool stuff moving forward.
I didn't recognize that you had these solutions for that because it is such a process of letting go of things. You've helped me a lot with that. You're in my head a lot. And
most people are. They like, I hear you in my head.
You really don't need to buy that. Because you have 5, so it's interesting how it becomes this tumbling effect.
There's a couple of really good books that I do offer to my clients too, and I can give you the links to those books.
Excellent.
A couple of, you and I talked about the couple of gentlemen that had lost their wives and that we worked with, and there's a book called Let It Go, and it talks about being very validated by their profession, very validated by their family unit, and they don't have that anymore, and how they can work through it. And sometimes reading through it, it makes it a little easier for them, but they're also hearing it from me, so they're getting it in 2 different ways. So those books can be really good resources for them as well.
When I hire you and I do my first consultation with you, walk me through what that would be like. And I'm
thinking,
as a client, I'm coming from the perspective of going from the house I grew up in, grew up my whole family in, to a major downsize. And I plan on traveling, and I need to lighten the load.
Okay. Well, I would come to the space. We'll meet. We'll probably have about an hour consultation.
Okay.
You'll take me on a tour and I'll have a look at how much stuff is in there. And I usually can tell just by talking to people for, half an hour, 45 minutes, are they in a mindset that they're ready for this move?
Sure.
Because if they aren't, it's going to take a lot longer.
Right.
And if they are, then we can move through things pretty quickly. I also work with a team, which makes it a lot faster. I can work one-on-one with the client, but as they make those decisions, the girls on my team can make sure that stuff is going to where it needs to go so that we're not revisiting that stuff again.
Excellent.
And then I write a report to give them an idea of how much I think it'll cost, how long I think it'll take. And then there's no obligation after that. They can hire us or not.
I will tell you, I was thinking about the property out on Highway 12. Sellers lived in Hawaii. They had no intentions of coming back. And this is a great big house and then a second house and 30 years of stuff.
Yeah.
It was a lot of stuff.
It was.
We FaceTimed with the seller to sort through things. I share that I was blown away by the efficiency of your team. Everyone I felt like they almost had their specialty. I'm the kitchen gal, I'm the linen gal, I'm the clothes. Like everyone just, boom, sprung into action. And the boxes were beautifully labeled. We shipped 2 containers of stuff, excuse me, to Hawaii, including a car.
Yeah, that was.
It's just so efficient when we work with you.
Thank you.
And I just know there's such a confidence when somebody hires you that you're going to take care of all those details and that you have a system. And that just makes me calm, one, for my clients, because JoAnne and her team, they've got it. You don't ever, there's just no worry. Right. And it's so efficient. It's tidy. I love that.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you find, and family might tap into this question, like what are some of the biggest challenges you find sometimes when you're coming into a home?
Well, there's a couple things. I think the one challenge that first comes to mind is if they don't know where they're going to move.
Right.
So we don't know how much they can take.
Right.
That makes it difficult. So then we just sort of go through and make a best guess. Like if you're going from 8,000 square feet, you're probably still going to go to something that has 2 or 3 bedrooms.
Right.
So we can kind of guesstimate what is what they're able to take. And again, we'll go through and maybe we scan a bunch of stuff. That'll take a lot of the bulk away so we can put it on photo frames or things like that. So that would be one thing, not knowing. The emotional side of it, that's always going to play into it. No matter if it's you, me, or anybody, we all are attached to our things. And helping them through that process. The gentlemen that we've worked with that have lost spouses, where you add another layer of grief on top of it, so that can be tough. And the other big one that I didn't think of before was timeline. When people call me and say, we want to list the house in 2 weeks. Sometimes that's not possible. So I always encourage people if they even have an inkling that they're going to move or downsize, to start early.
Yes.
And so that we can make it a process over 6 months or something. And then it's not as difficult.
Right.
Because it's
one of the things that you had mentioned that I like too is if I know it's going to be a downsizing, you mentioned now I'm going from a 5-bedroom house to a 3-bedroom, is you kind of map, where do you guys live in your house now? We kind of talked about that once before in video. And how do you use that space? So you don't need the buffet and the table for 18 people and and you help them sort of consolidate what do you really need
exactly
so that they can let go of the other pieces.
Exactly. That's exactly what we do. But we also, if they're moving into assisted living or a space like that, we can get maps from those facilities.
Oh, perfect.
And so we will have layouts and we can show them this is where your couch is going to go. You'll have a space for a couple of dressers. You're only going to have this much closet space, those kinds of things.
Right.
So, and if we take a little bit too much, I would rather take a tiny little bit too much so that they can still get rid of, rather than them moving saying, oh, I don't have any bleach, or I don't
Right.
have a screwdriver,
Right.
We think about those kinds of things too, just a small toolbox and things like that.
There's still so many people, you'll know who I'm thinking of, it went from a big house to a smaller house up on the east side of town. And you and I helped them move from their last house into that house to this house. They kept 2 storage units because it is such a process. They had 3 storage units. It is such a process of letting go of stuff. 5 Christmas trees, 20 bins of decorations, like all these things. And it really, watching this particular couple kind of starting to sort through. I still see it today where they have boxes in the garage from their last move. How do we sort of encourage people to tackle? Is there a timeline, do you think? If you haven't touched this in X years, it's time for it to go. Do you have that sort of?
Don't.
No?
I don't. I sort of believe in that. I sort of don't. Now, if there's boxes that you have in your house that are still taped from your last move, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
You have not even looked in that thing. There is nothing in there that you like. But I have a trouble with the things that say, oh, you haven't touched this formal gown for a year. Well, yeah, I might not go to a formal event. So it really depends.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry I don't have a better answer for that, but it really, I like to look at function.
Okay.
Are you using it?
Excellent.
If you're not using it, then it's okay.
Let it go.
Sometimes they just need permission too.
Right.
You think it's okay? Yeah, it's okay. Your aunt did not give you that platter to make you take it to your grave. Like you can give away the platter because you don't care for it, or you don't have room for it in your space.
And you're never going to use it. I think that's the big thing. Another thing that I've listened to you say to people that I really like, and that is, if you are not using it and enjoying it, know that when you give it, somebody else will.
Will, absolutely.
They will buy it from whatever place we've made the donation, and then so that is really the gift, I think.
It is.
To know you get to pay it forward.
You do.
And they're going to love your aunt's platter. And you don't have this burden or responsibility to hold on to these family treasures. So I think that was a big mindset shift. My parents had a lot of antiques, so I felt like this Dad refinished it, that I had this. I don't want all of that. And my brother doesn't. So it's really,
and I don't think
someone will love it.
Yeah, and I tell people, I don't think your parents are going to look down on you from heaven and say, I can't believe she didn't keep the buffet from great grandma Hilda or whatever. They want you to live the life that you want to live. They don't want you to be burdened by these things. But kind of to another point, Marie, there's often times where people go, I really do love this thing. And typically, because I've done this for 8 or 9 years, you can tell if people really love something. So the other thing I'll try to do is, can we take that thing, whatever it might be, and use it for something else? Like, can we change the function of it? So I had a lady that loved a bunch of teacups from her grandma. Well, she's not going to use them for a tea party. She's not going to put them in her cupboards. So we actually used them in one of her jewelry drawers as drawer dividers, so she can put jewelry things. So if I know that you really, really want something, let's try to figure out a different function for it. Yeah. Or can we use it for a vase? Can we, different things like that.
I love that.
I keep reminding people, we live in a limited area, a limited space. Everything we live in is a container. And what is in that container has to be meaningful. Don't fill your spaces with things that you just feel like you have to keep. Love the things around you, because it's going to just be so much happier.
I love that. I love that. So we talked a lot about estates. I briefly will talk some lighthearted stuff. You have transformed pantry after pantry, kitchen, under cabinets. It is its own TV show. In fact, I think they had a reality TV show about it, because I'm so guilty of it. And there are days when I'm really proud of myself because it is all organized. I bring out the table. I watch Joe, right? So I put all the stuff out and I go through. I find spices that are 3 years old. And I finally ditch all this stuff. Yeah. And then I put it back in, and it's a good 2 weeks. And then the chaos starts kind of coming back. Yeah. Do you have any recommendations for someone like me? Like when you're done, there's joy. Yeah. And then life happens.
Well, I think it goes with anything that we're trying to build those new habits. Okay. I'm a firm believer of sort of decluttering. There's a book, wonderful, and I'll give a shout out. It's called Decluttering at the Speed of Life. And it talks about decluttering as you're moving through your life, rather than taking the Saturday to spend to do your garage or do your pantry. Right. If you notice the spices, then just get rid of them at that time. Okay. But typically, if I see people that we go in and we give them a system, and then after 2 or 3 months it's not working again, it tells me that the system needs tweaking. Okay. So it's not necessarily the organizational bins or where we've put things, but it's the system. Like when you come in with new spices, do you have the mindset to go and make sure the old ones go away? Okay. That's sort of one in, one out. So typically if people are backsliding on a regular basis, it's because the system that we've set up just needs tweaking. And I'm the first one to say, when we do projects, we're not going to hit it on the head 100% of the time, you know. So I always have a really open dialogue with my clients that if they call me in a couple, 3 months, or I follow up with them, let's make sure it's working, because I don't want them to live in that chaos again if it's just something we need to tweak that's small. Yeah.
I recently did a little work in my pantry. I had 3 bags of almond flour. Yeah. 3. Yeah. 3 bags. And they take up a lot of space. 3 garlic salts. I don't even know how much pepper I have. So thank you for that. Because I would just be like, oh, this is a, blah, blah, blah kind of pepper. I think that would be really great in the pepper. I mean, it's crazy. It's stupid stuff like that where I see things along the way, or the almond flour is on sale at Costco, so I'm buying, Yeah.
Well, there's a couple things I think at least in pantries, categorization is huge, and keeping those categories in some sort of container. You don't need the fancy bins from the Container Store. I don't care if it's a cardboard box. Right. But if you have all of your flour in one box or one container, you're going to know what you have. Okay. I'm also a big proponent of use a grocery list and stick to your grocery list. And you put it in your phone, not the ones that stick on the fridge, because I would forget, but I have a Costco list and a grocery list in my phone in an app, so that when I go to Costco, who doesn't have their phone? Right. So that I sort of try and stick to the list.
I like the tips and tricks. Okay, one last big plug for More Space, More Time, and that was Christmas. So 2 years ago is when you first came, and I didn't know that More Space, More Time did this. But I like to have my house decorated, so I had 2 trees in the entry, and all the kids were home, so I really went all out. And then I'm like, well, somebody's got to come pack all this up. It was my least favorite thing, honestly. Putting up Christmas, so much fun. Any holiday, Valentine, I love decorating, Easter, all that stuff. But Christmas, again, so overwhelming, way too much stuff. And then the magic wand comes. And JoAnne, you twinkle your nose. JoAnne and her team descend upon my house. Everything is color-coded. The bins are labeled. The bins are all the same size. It was like a Christmas gift to myself, honest to goodness.
And I'll tell you, it's one of the most fun campaigns that my team and I do. The girls are always excited right after Christmas. Oh, and we call it Undeck the Halls. Yeah. We go into people's homes, and the first year we had a few, including you. This year we tripled how many people we did, just because people found out about it. We have a blast. We absolutely love doing it. We're getting really good at taking down 20-foot Christmas trees and
Oh my
getting them
God.
packed right back in the Balsam Hill boxes and things
Yeah.
like that. But it's been a really fun campaign because for us, it's just organizing like we do every day. But for clients, they're like, oh my goodness, I'm so done with the holidays and I just want the stuff to go away.
Yeah.
We have ladies that are already booked out for 3 years because they want December 27th so that it can just go away, or people that are right after New Year's or that kind of thing. So yeah, thank you, because it has been really fun. It puts a big smile on my face because we do have a lot of fun with that. We go up and there's a couple of just beautiful, amazing houses in Tumble Creek that we do. And so we get to travel in the snow.
Yeah, yeah.
Get our big ladders out and go for,
So
go for it.
awesome.
So we do have one rule. There's no Christmas music while we take it down.
Okay.
Go back to Michael Jackson or Yacht Rock or something.
Perfect.
You know, but yeah,
I love it.
fun.
It's fun just watching how your business has evolved and really just seeing what the needs are in Yakima and in the marketplace for someone with your talent. So we're so lucky to have you.
Thank
JoAnne
you.
Hanses,
Thank
more space,
you.
more time.
Thank you.
She brings her magic wand and her incredible team and just takes care of every last detail. And I think more than any of that, just this incredible giving heart, tender heart to really guide your clients and take them through what could be a really difficult transition.
Yeah.
And you are
Thank
so
you.
gifted in that.
Thank you. Well,
thank you.
and thank you for the support too, you know, with realtors and a lot of the businesses in Yakima have seen what we do and feel the importance of it. So we are just very fortunate to be supported by wonderful people like you.
Yeah.
And yeah, the business is going crazy. So we love it.
So if people want to reach you, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
We are on Instagram, Facebook. We have a great website that tells about our services.
And your handle
is? More Space, More Time.
So more space, moretime.com, and same at more space,
More Time
on Instagram.
on
and social.
Instagram, Facebook. My cell phone number is on there, so they can call and text anytime. And yeah, we love to just talk to people, even if they just want to call and ask questions. I'm more than happy to chat with them and see if we can help.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.